The 2026 World Cup group stage round 1 is over, and we've had some incredible games. This World Cup has been nothing short of fantastic. I know there was a lot of skepticism before it started, but let's be honest, this has been an incredible World Cup so far. And today, for round 1, I'm about to give you my power rankings. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Chapéu Football, where we provide the best coverage of Brazilian football and South American football in English on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed, you're missing out. Do that right now. And today, I'm going to give you my power rankings for the round 1 of the group stage of the 2026 World Cup. But listen, I'm not going to go through all 48 teams. I'm going to do the top 16. And you may be wondering why. And my answer to that is 48 is too much. I'm lazy. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not doing 48 teams. I'm also going to quickly go through the situation of each group, and that's pretty much all. Now, listen, if you want us to do a power ranking for each round of the group stage and probably the first 2 rounds of the knockouts, so that would be the round of 32 and round of 16, let us know in the comment section. We'll gladly do so because this power ranking is based on the performance of each team in the first round. So in the second round, a lot can change. Not a lot can change, a lot will change. Okay, so that said, don't forget to drop a like in this video. It's a great way to support the channel for free. Subscribe so you don't miss out on our Brazil and World Cup coverage. And that's all. Let's start the power rankings. But before we start, once again, this is based on the performances of the first round. Okay, I need to make that clear before people start arguing with me in the comment section. Okay, now let's begin. Okay, so before we even talk about the power rankings, I want to go through the groups, okay? Just so we can kind of freshen our memory of what's going on. By the time you're watching this, maybe a few teams already played in the second round, but that won't change the round. Actually, that won't change the power rankings that quickly, right? So you might have watched a few. Remember, this is for round 1. So if you watched games from round 2 and you're watching this now, a lot has changed. And we'll do an updated one. If you guys want me to do a round 2 one, let me know in the comment section. And make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram right here. Look down below. Manager Tactical on Twitter and Tactical Manager TV on Instagram. Yes, that's our other account. That's what we use there on Twitter. But let's go Twitter and Instagram. Let's go through the groups. Let's go through the groups here. So Group A, Mexico is in first at the time of this recording with 1 win. They defeated South Africa in the first game, 3 points. South Korea defeated Czechia. So South Korea is in second with 3 points. And then Czechia and South Korea are in third and fourth. And just a reminder, the top 8 third-place teams, they advanced to the knockout rounds in this World Cup. Group B, we have Switzerland. Actually, everyone's tied in Group B because everyone tied their game 1-1. Literally everyone. So Switzerland, Canada, Qatar, and Bosnia, everyone tied 1-1. Everyone's tied in Group B. Switzerland was the big disappointment. They conceded a late goal to Qatar. Quite disappointing from a team that I consider quite strong. Group C, we have Scotland in first. They barely defeated Haiti. The ref helped Scotland a little bit right there with a penalty kick they didn't give to Haiti. Scotland leads Group A. Morocco is tied with Brazil. They tied 1-1. Brazil tied the game after Morocco scored first with Vinicius Jr. And Haiti's in last place. But listen, if you're from Haiti, props to you, man, because I expected way less from Haiti. You guys looked decent to good against Scotland. Not bad. We'll see how Haiti does against Brazil on Friday, but didn't look bad at all. Group D, the United States leads the group after they beat Paraguay 4-1. That was kind of big. Australia is in second, right? They have 3 points. They defeated Turkey 2-0. That was kind of an upset right there. And then you have Group E, okay? Group E. But just going back here to Group D, so U.S. in first, Australia second, Turkey third, and Paraguay fourth. Now, Group E, we have Germany in first with 3 points. They defeated Curaçao 7-1. So Brazil's 7-1 curse, that's gone. That's gone. They passed it over. Like, Brazil no longer has that. Curaçao is the one that everyone should be making fun of now. Going on here, Ivory Coast is in second. They defeated Ecuador. That was actually a good game, even though it was only 1-0. Ian Diamande was incredible in that game for the Ivory Coast. Ecuador just couldn't score. And that's the big issue with Ecuador that I talk about every single video. Where are the goals going to come from with Ecuador? The defense is incredible. The midfield is solid, but they need to score goals. They need to score goals. Now, mind you, Ecuador got a bit unlucky. They hit the post twice, but again, Group F, Sweden leads the group after they defeated Tunisia 5-1, and Tunisia obviously fired their coach and hired Hervé Renard. That's a good coach for underdogs, but I think Tunisia won't do much in this World Cup. Japan and the Netherlands, they tied 2-2. That was a great game. Japan pulled a late draw. Very good game between Japan and the Netherlands. So the group has Sweden first, Japan second, tied with the Netherlands, and then Tunisia in fourth. Group G, we have New Zealand in first, Iran in second, Belgium in third, and Egypt in fourth, but everyone has a point. Everyone tied. Belgium tied Egypt, and Iran tied New Zealand, so everyone has a point. Group H, Uruguay, also everyone's tied. Everyone's tied because Uruguay and Saudi Arabia tied 1-1, so they have a point each. And Spain tied Cape Verde, which was the biggest upset in World Cup history. I don't care what anyone says. Cape Verde tying Spain, European champions, World Cup contenders, 0-0 in the first game with Vozinha just balling out. That's the biggest upset in World Cup history. I don't care what anyone says. Group I, we have Norway in first. They beat Iraq 4-1. Erling Haaland pulled a George W. Bush and just completely destroyed their Iraq. Oh, Erling Haaland. That was a great joke on X, by the way. That's not my joke. That's not my joke. Before anyone gets mad at me. That was on Twitter. It was a very funny joke. But France defeated Senegal right there, and that was a big one for France. We're going to talk about France in the power rankings because they looked like World Cup contenders in that second half. Very dangerous. Mbappe getting 2 goals. Erling Haaland made his World Cup debut against Iraq and also scored 2 goals. So Norway first, France second, Senegal third, and Iraq in fourth. Group J, we have Argentina. They beat Algeria 3-0. Lionel Messi scored 3 goals. Got his first World Cup hat trick, and he became an all-time leading goal scorer in World Cup history, tied with Miroslav Klose, 16 goals each, so Messi will probably break his record. Then you have Austria in second. They defeated Jordan 3-1. Austria's a good team. Good team. I don't know if I'm going to put them in my top 16 power ranking in this video, but they're a good team. Then you got Group K. Colombia defeated Uzbekistan 3-1, and Portugal tied Congo 1-1. Portugal's a big disappointment to me. They were terrible. And if you go to our Instagram, I made a video about Cristiano Ronaldo, how he's holding back Portugal, and a bunch of the Ronaldo cult fans. And look, at this point, the Ronaldo diehards, not their fans. He has a lot of fans. I'm even a fan. The diehards, to me, they're like the flat earthers. They believe the earth is flat. They still think we have prime Ronaldo in the World Cup. It's insane. It's insane. This guy's well past his prime. No off the ball movement, can't counter press, can't beat his man, can't create space, can't combine, and can't even finish anymore. This is not the Ronaldo we used to see, but the Ronaldo diehards don't see it. He is holding back Portugal. If he's a super sub, it could be better. But anyhow, there are more issues with Portugal than Ronaldo. He's not the only problem. Colombia leads. They got a big win against Uzbekistan. And then Group L, England leads the group after they defeated Croatia 4-2. And England looked very good against Croatia on offense. The defense for England looked abysmal. If I'm English, I'll be worried about that defense right there. And Ghana defeated Panama 1-0. So Ghana has a shot in qualifying. They have to try to pull a draw here against Croatia or England. And they could still qualify in third if they don't get trashed by England and Croatia. But Panama, they're out. I'm sorry. Panama's out. So now let's go to my power rankings. Let's do the power rankings, right? That's what you guys came here for. The top 16 teams of the World Cup based on performance. My totally unbiased opinion right here. And yes, that's our account on Twitter, Tactical Manager, Manager Tactical. Go follow us. So people are going to say, you're biased. You are biased. Everyone's biased. Okay, we all have a bias. But I watched every single World Cup game. Every single World Cup game. Okay. And based on what I saw, just on performance. So I take into account how the team played, how they attacked, how they defended, how much in control of the game they were, the level of the opponent that they faced. That also matters. Like Germany trashed Curacao 7-1. I didn't think Germany looked that great. They even conceded a goal. I think Bakuna scored a goal for Curacao. Germany, I still have a lot of question marks about that team. But let's go through here my power rankings, and you guys can curse me out in the comment section, be angry. I have France at number 1. In the first half, France was playing it safe. Playing it safe. In the second half, when they turned up against Senegal, by the way, Senegal's a very, very strong team. France looked like legitimate World Cup contenders, and they beat Senegal 3-1. So France, to me, is still number 1 here based on performance, based on the opponent they played, how they played. They're number 1. Argentina. I do have some question marks about Argentina still. They still seem to be reliant on Messi. Who wouldn't be? And the Algeria goalkeeper, Zidane's son, was abysmal in that game. But Argentina got a 3-0 win. They were in complete control of the game. Julian Alvarez was even on the bench, so they have a good bench. The defense looked mostly solid. They had one or two shaky moments in the game and a goal that was disallowed for Algeria. But Argentina has to be placed number 2 based on performance. Algeria is not supposed to be a bad team, and Argentina beat them 3-0. And when you have Messi, man, it just helps. Like I talked about this in a short on Instagram, actually. I always placed Pele as a GOAT. And that's me because I grew up in a Brazilian household, right? Brazilian family in the United States here. But the more time goes on and what Messi accomplishes and does, I'm getting close to conceding that Messi is the greatest of all time. I'm getting there. Actually, by the end of this World Cup, I probably will be there. Number 3, I have England. I thought England played quite well against a very tough opponent, Croatia. My only question with England is their defense. Look. I can see England going far in this World Cup. I can't see them winning it with that defense. If the defense doesn't improve under Thomas Tuchel, I don't see England winning the World Cup. But that offense was good, dude. Looked like a scary team. England played well. 4th, United States, and that's where people are going to get pissed off at me and say that I'm biased. But guys, listen. Paraguay was one of the best defenses in CONMEBOL. Paraguay defeated Argentina in CONMEBOL, defeated Brazil. This is a good team. Ever since Gustavo Alfaro took over Paraguay, it's a good team. People keep downplaying Paraguay. They're not bad. I keep saying this. Paraguay is not bad. And I saw the United States tear Paraguay to pieces in the first half. It was 3-0 for the United States in the first half, and it could have been 4 or 5. The game was so easy for the U.S., and the U.S. was playing so well that they even rested Pulisic at halftime, their best player, the United States' best player. Balogun was playing with ease. The United States in the second half was just like on cruise control, and they still got a late goal, Gio Reyna. What I saw from the U.S. in the first half was one of the best performances in the World Cup. And again, if you are going to keep downplaying it, saying it's just Paraguay, why didn't Argentina do that to Paraguay? Why didn't Brazil? Right? My point is Paraguay, if you say Paraguay is a bad team, you just don't know ball. I'm sorry. I hate to say that, and I never do. Paraguay is not a bad team. And honestly, they might beat Turkey. We'll see. This is being recorded on Thursday. The game is on Friday. The United States tore them to pieces. It was probably one of the outside of the Germany versus Curacao, which, by the way, I know Curacao very well. They play in CONCACAF. I cover CONCACAF on Tactical Manager TV. Curacao is really, really bad. Really, really bad. Paraguay is not. Okay, so the United States is 4th to me in terms of performance. That can change very well in the next round. After that, in 5th, I have the Netherlands. I thought the Dutch played a good game against Japan. Again, a very strong opponent. Japan didn't get lucky, but at the same time, they did to pull a late draw. And Japan is missing many players, right? Mitoma is not there. Endo retired. Minamino is not there. Now Kubo might be out. But the Dutch played a very, very good game. They have to do a little bit better on defense, which was surprising to me because the Dutch are supposed to have one of the best defenses in the World Cup. But again, the Dutch to me are number 5. Then you have Colombia at 6, and people are going to say, oh, they just played Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is also not a bad team. I know we think of it because we think of Uzbekistan. It's not a charming country when it comes to soccer or football. But the Colombia beat them 3-1. Luis Diaz looked incredible once again. The defense looked mostly solid for Colombia. They had Richard Rios coming off the bench. James, I don't know about James. We'll see how he does throughout the World Cup. But Colombia looked good. Colombia looked good. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the quarterfinals. And Colombia also probably will top the group. Based on what I saw from Portugal, and now they have a 2-point gap of Portugal, so they could even play for a draw against Portugal because Colombia is going to defeat Congo. I know Portugal didn't. Colombia is going to beat Congo. So Colombia in 6th. Morocco in 7th. I thought Morocco did a great job against Brazil. They played very well. They're a very strong team. Whether you think Brazil played one of their worst games, whatever you think there, they had a very tough game, both sides, Brazil and Morocco in the first game. Brazil facing Morocco, Morocco facing Brazil. I thought Morocco played quite well. I have Morocco in 7th place. Japan in 8th. You're going to say, how do you put Japan in 8th? Dude, Japan, their depth was tested and it passed. They were very good against the Netherlands, and I like the way they moved the ball. They're very good in possession. They're very good at this organizing the opponent with the ball. And they pulled a draw. They found a way to pull a draw when they were down, facing adversity against one of the top European teams, the Dutch. 9, I have Germany. And people are going to say, you were down playing Curacao. Yes, Curaçao's not good. But the job was done, right? Germany did pull a 7-1 win, so I cannot not place them in the top 10. I have Germany in ninth. I have Brazil in 10th. Brazil tied Morocco. And as much as people were hating on Brazil and putting them down, think about this for a second. Like, we are talking about Brazil tying Morocco. In the past, that would be an upset. I don't think it's an upset. Morocco's a semi-finalist of the 2022 World Cup. Morocco also is technically the African champions right now. Them or Senegal, depends on how you debate that, right? Senegal technically won, but Morocco made it to the final, and they won it in court after. Um, so Brazil tie Morocco is not a horrible result. In Brazil, there was a few things from Brazil that I like, a few things that I hated. And even though Brazil had those struggles, like essentially playing man down with Casemiro in the midfield, Igor Thiago not performing, Endrick not getting any minutes, and a defensive mistake, Brazil still got a 1-1 draw. Vinicius Jr. pulled through, Rafinha was terrible, and Brazil still pulled a 1-1 draw. I think that if Brazil was playing an opponent a level below Morocco, which to me, Morocco is one of the top teams in the tournament, Brazil would have won. So I put Brazil in 10th. People just overhate Brazil at this point. Um, Norway in 11th. I thought Norway played quite well against Iraq. They did well. And Erling Haaland again, starting with already scoring 2 goals. Then I have in 12th the Ivory Coast, because the Ivory Coast played a very tough team, Ecuador. Ecuador is one of the toughest teams to beat in this World Cup, one of the best defenses in the world. And the Ivory Coast looked good. They got lucky a few times where Ecuador hit the crossbar, but Ivory Coast looked good, competent. They beat Ecuador 1-0. And to me, Ian Diamande, their right winger, number 11, if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the top performers in the first round. Ian Diamande. Simply incredible, the RB Leipzig winger. He was tearing up the Ecuadorian defense. He was making Piero Hincapié, one of the best defenders in the world, look like an amateur player. It was unbelievable. And then I have Senegal in 13th, and people are going to say, Senegal lost to France. How could you do that? They lost to France. To me, the favorites to win the World Cup. And Senegal actually had a few moments against France. The first half was good. Senegal had a few moments. I have Senegal in 13th. I have South Korea in 14th because they also looked quite good against Czechia. And Czechia is not an easy team to beat, right? That's the team that beat Denmark to get here. And South Korea actually was much better than them. They conceded on set pieces to Czechia, which they're a great set piece team. And South Korea still found a way to win the game. Very good team, South Korea. I like what I saw. I have Ecuador in 15th. And people are going to say, what? How can you have Ecuador there on 15th? They lost. Ecuador got a bit unlucky against the Ivory Coast. Also, the Ivory Coast is a good team. They beat France right before the World Cup in a friendly. And I thought Ecuador was good. My only question with Ecuador is, where are the goals going to come from? That is my only question, my only concern. 16th, I have Mexico. I don't have Mexico higher because I thought South Africa was a horrible, abysmal opponent. But Mexico got the 2-0 win. They got the job done, right? So I have Mexico in 16th. And you may be saying, where's Spain? I was like, guys, I can't put Spain in the top 16. Their performance, Spain and Portugal, this power ranking is based on performance. Spain and Portugal were embarrassing in the first round. Embarrassing. Now, are they going to move up in the ranking when I do round 2? Very likely. Spain will probably win the next game and play very well. Portugal, they're going to play Uzbekistan. At this point, I don't know with Portugal, but I can't place Spain in the top 16 based on their performance with Cape Verde. They tied Cape Verde, and they weren't as dominant as you would want them to be. In Portugal, against Congo, that game could have gone either way. Congo could have won that game. I thought Congo was even a little bit better, despite Portugal having more possession. So that's my power ranking. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it, but I watched every single game, guys. Every single game. And that's what I saw based on performance. Ignore the players on the field. Think about performance. Now I want to go through something that Football Meets Data posted real quick. They posted a projected bracket for the knockout rounds based on the results of the first round, FIFA rankings, advanced analytics. They use everything. They're very good at predicting stuff. And this is the bracket they predicted. Quite a fascinating bracket. I'm just going to go through this very, very quickly. We can probably do this every time when we do the power rankings for round 2. We can look at the projected bracket again. So they project South Korea and Canada in round of 32, Netherlands and Morocco, and that's on the left side of the bracket that I'm looking. Germany versus Turkey, France versus Sweden, Portugal versus Croatia, Spain versus Austria, USA versus Bosnia, Belgium versus Czechia, Brazil versus Japan, Ivory Coast versus Norway, Mexico and Scotland. The vibes for that game, my goodness. England versus Congo, Argentina versus Uruguay, Australia versus Egypt, Switzerland versus Ecuador, and Colombia versus Senegal. One thing I disagree with them here is based on what I'm seeing. I think they put France advancing in second because Norway won, and they put also Sweden advancing in first because Sweden beat Tunisia. I don't think Sweden's going to top the group with Japan and the Netherlands, and I think France is going to top the group. Even though Norway scored more goals, I think France is going to top the group because right now Norway's in first, um, simply because what should I call it? They beat Iraq 4-1. And I think they had also Brazil advancing in second. So that's the projected bracket based on the results of the first round. I don't think it's going to play out that way, but we can revisit that bracket that they projected when we do the power rankings for the second round. If you guys want us to do so, let us know in the comment section down below. Let me know your power rankings. Drop a like in the video if you made it this far, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram as well. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and have a great day. Bye-bye. I'll see you guys for the live watch along between Brazil and Haiti. Bye.